working on UFly assessment. And so we're gonna come and help out there too. The reason we started with fourth and fifth is because their curriculum started before you guys. You still have about a week and a half to 2 weeks, I think, left in the assessment window. So we wanted to make sure that, you know, fourth and fifth were able to go ahead and form their differentiated groups to get started as soon as possible. So if you have any questions at any time about Phonics, I'm not an expert by any means, but I've given it a lot now. And if you need help with any of it, I'm happy to help you with it, especially scoring, placement, that type of thing. It's pretty straightforward, especially with the UFly and Phonics, what do you call it, the correlation chart. It's pretty straightforward. So, and we'll talk about that a little more at the end of the presentation. But anyway, I think I've given a lot of different assessments in my time, and this is one of the easiest ones I think that I've ever given. So it's not timed, you don't have all that extra pressure and all that stuff going on. It's pretty straightforward and pretty student-led as well. You can tell if a student gets to a point where they're not comfortable or they're not saying things fluently, then you just cut them off and know kind of where, at that point, where their UFly is going to start. So anyway, so where do I start? This is pretty easy. Sorry, I've got to go over here. First of all, I want to give you the links to find the Phonics survey if you haven't found that yet. If you go to the Klondike Living Calendar and click on ELA support.
Here, do you want me to be your...
It's okay, I got it.
Dana White.
It's okay.
Dana White.
Dana.
Yeah, I'm used to getting my steps in, it's all good. So we're gonna go to ELA support and click on UFly. It'll say UFly JCPS Padlet. And then you've got a button with UFly JCPS resources. And you actually get what I call the UFly page, which is awesome. It has everything you need for UFly, all the links on this page. So we've got 4 different areas that you can go to on this page: resources, assessment, videos, and games. So if you look under assessment, not only do you have the end of the unit assessment, but the progress monitoring, everything that you need to be successful in implementing UFly. But if you get under Phonics assessment and click on it, then you get a copy of the Phonics. This is an older version, and what Miss Catlett actually, did you bring this to me? No, Miss Jones had this, I'm sorry. Miss Jones had a copy that is more like a booklet where the students can be tested multiple times throughout the year. You don't have to keep up with, multiple assessments. It's one assessment. I think you can give it up to 6 times, so it'll have 6 different boxes. So whichever one you're on, I like to use different colors, but if you want to put a date on the top, whatever you need to do to show where they are, what date you're actually assessing in that box. And then from there, you've got your little page on the front where you can put their scores from first time, second time, however many times you give it, which I don't think we'll give it more than 3 times, for fall, then winter, and spring, kind of like MAP. If you want to do it more often, just to kind of maybe get a read of where your students are, then that's okay too. Maybe progress monitoring isn't giving you a clear picture, so this could be something that you can use as well. It's really quick to give as well. So, but on the back too, there's notes. Love this little part because, I know we tested the first time, and so on the back, I've gone through the 4th and 5th, and I've actually put where they are in UFly for the 4th and 5th teachers, so they can actually take the assessment now and kind of group their kids accordingly. So, but this is the Phonics survey. Gives you a little information about it. Not a lot of information. I noticed I had to do a little bit of looking around to find out some more information, like scoring. Benchmark, it'll tell you for letter names and sounds for the 15 item words, which are words. And they have all of the words after you get through the graphemes, and phonemes, then it will take you to, decoding words. And so you start with specific, like the first thing would be short vowels and CVC words. It goes right along with UFly, right along with the lessons in UFly. And it will actually tell you when you get to the correlation chart what lesson to start on, depending on where they are, according to Phonics. So that's kind of neat. If you have any questions about that, I'm happy to help you too. I like to err on the side of caution, and if somebody is kind of maybe floating around two different categories, I would probably maybe choose to put them in the lower category just because review never hurts. You're going to have a lot of your multilingual learners are going to fall in the beginning. They're going to need alphabetic from the very beginning. And then I've also found that we have quite a few students who don't need UFly at all, but that's in 4th and 5th. So I know kindergarten looks a little different. So that's the old recording page. Let me show you kind of what the student copy will look like. So this is the student copy, and this is all they're going to see are boxes that are listed in parts A, B, C, D, and you'll have capital letters in some, lowercase letters in some. You're going to have to just read the script. I mean, it's easy, right, Ms. Catlett? It's pretty simple to read the script. It'll tell you exactly what to ask them for, whether it's naming the letter or making the letter sound. So kindergarten, I don't know if you guys will go much farther than that.
No, it said in the fall that we would just do the part
Yes,
A, and
right.
then by the end of the year,
They'll
part
need
D.
to do part D. Yeah, that makes sense, which are the vowels. And so, well, actually, part D are the vowels. On the vowel sounds in part D, this is interesting too. With a lot of 4th and 5th graders, I'm able to say, hey, do you know your alphabet? Yes. So I might, if I'm not sure about them, I might ask them to point to a few letters for me. If I'm really not sure, I'll go down and have them make letter sounds for me, and then just go ahead and move on from there. But one part that a lot of students seem to get stuck on is part B, which are the vowels. They either realize, oh, these are vowels. Vowels make 2 different sounds. And they will ask, the test actually asks for them to give both sounds that the vowels make. So, might go off script just a touch, and sometimes I'll say, you know, these are vowels. And they'll go, oh, you know, immediately they think, okay, I know that vowels make 2 different sounds. But you'd be surprised how many students, especially 4th and 5th, and I think it's from where they now concentrate on words, sentences, you know, all of that big stuff, that they've forgotten some letter sounds, you know, and things like that. So they're like, oh gosh, I don't know, I don't remember. I'm in 4th grade now, I make words, you know, that kind of thing. So it's been interesting to see, you know, either the light bulb go on or they look really confused about what I'm asking them to tell me. So, and anyway, then with part E, we start with words, reading and decoding words. Again, it starts with the same flow as UFly. You start with short vowels and CVC words, and you work your way all the way up to the end, where you're working on multisyllabic words. Most, I wouldn't say all, but a lot of 4th and 5th graders make it through to the end, which is a good thing, right? We want to see that. We want to see them working their way through and scoring high enough where they don't have to be in a UFly group. So,
You're talking about the nonsense words on.
yes, also. Something Ms. Catlin and I have discussed. I was told that we stopped giving dibbles because of the nonsense word sections. And if you've ever given dibbles before, you know that they're big on nonsense words or made up words. Phonics has nonsense words. So in every box, when you get to the part of reading and decoding, the bottom line in every box, the 3rd line, is going to be nonsense words or made up words. When I'm scoring it and I see that a student got the first 2 rows correct of real words, and they might have missed 4 out of 5 of the nonsense words, you know, am I going to say, oh no, they need and CBC words, no. If they got every word, every real word correct, I'm gonna move them forward, okay? Nonsense words, sometimes kids are really good at nonsense words. I'm surprised at how many are good at pronouncing the nonsense words, but then you get some who just want to make those words like real words. And so they'll add or take away to try to make it into a real word. And so that's where they kind of get caught up with that. But again, when scoring it, if I see that they got every single word correct of the real words, to me, they've mastered that and they can move on to the next part. Okay. Okay, good deal. So you guys know where the core phonics assessment is now. And I wanted to show you one other thing. If you go back to the JCPS UFly site, right underneath the core phonics assessment, you find the UFly and core phonics alignment page. Like I said, this is super straightforward. It tells you exactly, if you've got an ML and they don't know all their letter sounds, or they can't tell you all the letters yet, then obviously you're gonna start them with consonant sounds at the very beginning, lesson 1, okay? And move them through the program. It doesn't mean you just do lesson 1, you're gonna move them through the program, right? But that's your starting point. That's with any of these. We've had a lot of kiddos who fall, and again, these are 4th and 5th graders, who fall with like the short vowels and CVC words, consonant blends, and short vowels. To me, I'm hoping that that's just a review thing that they need. And then you as a teacher know your students, and you can say, oh, they need to keep going in UFly, or maybe once they got that review on the CVC words, then they're good to go. Again, it's kind of using your judgment on those. You have some that will start in short vowel and CVC words and have to work their way all the way through to the end. Okay, but they're all starting points with core phonics. Okay, all the way down to multisyllabic words. Once they graduate from there, they can be UFly in the no UFly group, right? All right. Really quickly too, I just wanted to add on this page, again, everything you need is on here. The lessons, which are, I don't know if you guys have taught lessons in UFly before, but the lessons are electronic. You can pull them up, you just push the button and go through. One thing I would suggest is that whenever you're doing UFly, you make that a big routine in your classroom. Just like knowing what to do when the teacher's talking, how to ask to go to the bathroom. It should become like a routine, a ritual. They know exactly what to do. You can get to it quick. And then also, it just they know what to expect. And so, when I've seen it given in elementary schools, I got to go to Slaughter and visit a 5th grade classroom there. And the kids were excited to come to UFly. So, she had her little small group around the table, and they were so happy to be there, and they knew exactly what to do. She did not have to give any instruction at all until she's introducing new content. But everything else, the kids knew exactly what to do. So I think that, if you're worried about time in the classroom and how much time it's going to take to do UFly, I think once it becomes a routine, that it's going to go really quickly for you. Okay. And I have personally given UFly or done UFly with 2 newcomers last year. And the progress that they made, of course, they were middle schoolers. One was a 6th grader, one was an 8th grader. But they were brand new to the country. They moved over the fall, I think. And so I had them in the spring semester. And just the progress that they made was amazing. So it does work for MLs. I had read somewhere, and I don't know where I read it, and I haven't been able to find it since then, but that UFly was not good to give to MLs. But at the same time, when you see progress, I don't know, I'm not sure why they would say that it didn't work. But anyway, anything that you need is going to be right here. Okay, digital games, I know we had talked about what to do after the UFly group. Ms. Johnson and I had, I'm sorry,
Yeah, but keep going.
Are you sure? Okay. So letting them practice what they learned in UFly. Once they get to decodable passages, which happens, I think, around, I want to say it's around lesson 23, or maybe earlier, maybe like 15, 16. Anyway, they will start with decodable passages. You can always use those decodable passages as a center during your all block, where you send your students in the UFly group, maybe you pair them up or make trios, whatever you do, send them off with their decodable passage and let them practice reading out loud to each other. I know that that's one thing that happens in the skill block, but you would just be using something that they just learned, which is great, giving them practice on that. And then there are also digital games that you can play, or you can make copies. I always make copies, like a hard copy of the roll and reads, and then you would just need some fun dice, like big foam dice are fun, or little dice, whatever you have, and the students can play together. What I did is I paired two up, gave them different colors, like one got a blue marker, one got a pink marker, whatever, and whatever words they were able to identify, they'd color in the box. And so that way I could also use that as a formative assessment to see what words they remembered from our lesson. So, but all those materials are available on this website.
I've seen on TikTok, I'm a big TikToker,
Yes.
sorry.
No, it's okay, yeah.
Bad thing, but you can play like Connect 4, Battleship with the roll and read as well.
Yeah.
So my kids have been doing that sometimes last year, so that's really fun.
Yeah, I love it. All right, I'm gonna let you watch just a really quick video of a teacher actually giving the Phonics survey, and that'll maybe give you an idea of what it kind of looks like. This is just about a 3-minute video, so.
Knock, knock. Hi there. I'd love to show you what a K-12 powered school is really.
Hi Leslie, how are you today?
Good.
I'm going to have you show me what letters you need. All right, so can you name these letters? Very good. Okay, now can you tell me the names of these letters?
Same letters, but they're uppercase and lowercase. And also I know kindergarten, I talked to someone, maybe Miss Catlett, was covering the boxes as you went. Did you do that with the kindergartners? Okay, so unfortunately, it's all kind of on the same page on the student copy. So if you need to use a piece of paper to cover up what they've done or what's coming up next, just to keep them focused. Good. Okay, now look at these letters. Can you tell me the sound each letter makes? Okay, keep going. don't pronounce the letter correctly. It's probably not a good time during core phonics to try to change that. But you would be shocked, kindergarten teachers especially, how many students say puh and huh, and I'm going. I just cringe because I'm like, oh my gosh, who taught you that P says puh? Because, you know, or they'll add an A to the end of every single letter. So, anyway, just something to be mindful of.
Okay. And take a look at those letters. Can you tell me the sounds of each letter?
Again, he's doing lowercase letters. In this
Okay.
case.
Now, can you tell me the other sound that these letters make?
These are the vowels.
With their names,
Mm-hmm.
E-I-A-O-U.
Pretty easy, right?
Okay, very good. Now,
I wanted you to see, just hear her give the word part. What are the words?
okay. I want you to read each line of words aloud.
Sit, sit, net, lit, bun, bum, hog, what?
Okay. Most of the time, they're either gonna know the word or they're not gonna know the word. He did a little bit of sounding out, and that's okay. It was quick. He just needed to, you know, kind of decode that word, and he got it. But if you have students who start to have to sound out every single word, you just need to stop them, okay? Because that's not the point. The point is for them to know the word, to be able to say it, you know, when they see it. So, I can't imagine if I sat there and I did have one student who was sounding out words, and if I had let him sound out every word, do you know how long that would have taken to get this? Because there's a lot of words. I mean, there are quite a few boxes that they're gonna go through, so, and the higher the kid, the little, you know, it's gonna take a little bit longer to give it because they're gonna get all the way to the end. So, but anyway, any questions about, like, actually administering?
Is there no jumping point, like,
For older kids, yeah, well,
I don't have to maybe start a letter at the end?
no. I ask them if they know their letters, and again, you know your students. If they're an ML and you're not sure, then I would definitely start with the alphabet with them. If they know the letters, great, then I'd move them on to letter sounds. But with 4th and 5th grade, I've been asking questions. So, do you know your letters? So if I asked you to point to a letter, you could tell me what that letter is, you can tell me what that letter says. Yes, then we move on. But some of them I'm not sure about because maybe they're a little quieter than the others, or, you know, I might realize that they're not pronouncing things, and so I'll ask them a little more questions. You know, can you tell me where D is? Show me, point to S, point to L, and then I'll move on. But really, it's gonna come out in those sounds. A lot of students, even MLs, know their letters, if they've been here for any amount of time at all, and they might know them in Spanish. I have one little girl who didn't know them in English, but she knew them in Spanish, so I let her tell me the letters in Spanish, and I knew she was correct. So I made a point on there to say, you know, she does know them in Spanish, but she needs to start at lesson 1 with UFly. But I didn't want her to feel like she didn't know anything, so I let her tell me the letters in Spanish so she felt successful. You know, like, good job. And we talk about Jota and how Jota is J in English and J says Ja instead of like Jota. So anyway, anytime you can connect with them during the assessment and make them feel more comfortable, I think is a good thing. All right. determine your student's placement, again, it's pretty straightforward. It's, you know, tit for tat when you look at it. You just need to know where they are, as far as the survey goes. And again, I would err on the side of caution, and I would probably take them down a level if I wasn't sure. But then again, I had some fourth graders who maybe didn't do great on a couple of little things, you know, maybe they missed one more than they should have missed, but then they get to the harder parts, and like our control vowels and things like that, variant vowels, moving up to multisyllabic words, and they don't miss any. So, you know, you just, again, use your judgment. Okay. And I showed you where it was. Tips and takeaways, everything you need to teach UFly is available on the UFly JCPS website. If there's anything that you need, Ms. Harper sent an email this morning asking about heart word cards. They are coming. They're in production. As soon as they get here, I'll make sure I think we ordered 20 sets, right, Chad? And so we'll get those to anybody or everybody, you know, whoever wants to use those. I think it's important to have those heart word cards. And the ones that come from UFly with the little heart under the part, you know, so they get used to, again, everything they see, they've seen before. So just like the vowel valley and the consonant sound charts, if you don't have those yet and you want those in your classroom, let me know. I think we still have a couple of sets in the classroom, okay? So, but we'll get you those heart word cards as soon as they come in. I can help you determine student placements based on the data from Phonics. So if you need help deciding about where you want to put a student, I'm happy to help you with that. Or even on the EL skills assessment, because again, we have a correlation chart that's pretty straightforward as well, that goes between the two. And then also, if you need me to, I can model a UFly lesson for you. Just show you kind of how I did it and the routine that I use, and just kind of getting it going in the classroom. So, do you have any more questions for me? Yes?
If I have a kid that knows all of their letters, should I go to the sounds and see? Okay.
I would definitely. I mean, that student might be the only student, but at least you know where they are, and maybe they can do something different. Well, you know, you're pulling small groups for UFly, for sure. Or maybe that's a special thing that, you know, you can have your assistant maybe do something special with them. Just, you know, it's good to see where they are, though, for sure. Yeah. Yes.
Is there a place to put all of the like class data where you can see it all?
Yes.
Like, has someone made like a spreadsheet?
Yes. There is a data hub, like last year. Mallory was working on that.
We'll talk about that during
Yeah, we'll talk about
Learning
during
Team,
Learning
which one you
Teams
all
today,
Oh, okay.
because we need to see where she is as far as getting names in. I know she was going and inputting students.
And I guess in my head I was thinking like if it had like short vowels and then it had long vowels, or if it had R controlled, and then you could put their scores in the whole
Yeah.
class and just know where to move them. That
Yeah.
that thing exists. Okay, cool.
Hang on, I'm gonna show you.
If not, I'm just gonna be.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Chad, did we put that under?
We can show you what we have and,
Okay.
Yeah.
and see if that works for you all. If not, we're happy to adjust it. So
And it
we'll
is,
talk.
it is like that.
Okay, cool.
I think the one, it'll show, you know, and it's a progress monitoring. You can actually, you know, you enter their benchmark, and then you can, when you progress monitor, you can put their scores in as well.
There was something on there. Like, is it
Yes,
like this?
that's it.
But I was looking for one for like the whole class and just to see, like, not every lesson,
Right.
but like just in general, where were they with short vowels? So I know,
Okay.
you know, I can.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we can come up with
Yeah.
something for that. That's what the district gave us
Okay.
to use. But we could definitely come up with something, that is more skills based.